Tutindile na bisu invitation o kuyawan na Ball State na International Festival.
That's an invitation in Lingala from one of 192 Ball State International students to attend their international festival, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd in the Student Center Ballroom. The students will perform gay-spirited dances in costume at a special show, 8 p.m., Friday, April 22nd. Admission is free.
Now it's time for This Week at Ball State, a look at what is happening on the Ball State University campus. Your host for This Week at Ball State is Jim Nickerson.
Our guest today is Dr. Richard Rowray, Director of Admissions at Ball State University. And each year, about this time, Dr. Rowray, we look at enrollment figures to see how they're shaping up and how does it look so far.
The new student enrollment for this coming autumn quarter, 460 student applications ahead of a year ago at this time. And as we look at the housing accommodations and the orientation, well pleased with the numbers of new students thinking of enrolling at Ball State this autumn quarter. The orientation assigned dates are filled through August, and we have 200 students yet to find space for orientation, and then we're not even talking about the applications yet to come in between now and the opening of school. So, Jim, we are well pleased with the reception of our young people towards the programs offered at Ball State.
That's amazing, really. And such a turnaround from last year and the year before.
Well, you know, last year we had an increase of about 260 more freshmen than the year before that.
And but it was slow in coming in.
Yes. And what a lot of people don't realize is that we will receive an additional close to 1,000 applications between now, between now and the opening of school. So we have to make some adjustments in increasing the size of orientation dates and housing. We had a meeting on housing just recently, and they are running in excess of 700 applications, more than what they can handle. And so students are being notified now that housing might have temporary assignments for them. Any student that was admitted after April 15th is being notified of that. That means they might have to have their housing accommodations in lounges, and we may have to go 3 to a room. We don't wish to do that, but some students can expect to be housed in the lounges in the residence halls.
If resident halls were not available to students, would this affect their application? Are there some who want to reside on campus and would not consider off campus?
Well, we're monitoring this on a day-by-day basis, and we may have to notify students in the future, it could be the very near future, of those who desire on-campus housing. We may have to delay their admissions until winter or spring.
Mm-hmm. What is the university policy regarding off-campus housing?
A student who is not 21 years of age nor of junior classification must live in university housing on campus with their parents or in housing which is associated with a fraternity or a religious group such as the Baptist House.
If the trend should continue with the enrollment figures increasing each year, do you think there's a possibility of re-examining this policy?
There very well could be, but you know, as we do project through until about 1979, 1980, there is a decrease, a severe decrease in the number of high school graduates. And so we have been anticipating a drop in new student enrollment during the past year, which it didn't occur, and we are anticipating a drop in the next few years, which we're not sure if it will occur or not. There are two factors here, and number one is we still don't know how many cancellations we will have between now and the opening of school. And sometimes, such as our increase in our fees. $75 for the in-state resident, $225 fee increase for the out-of-state resident. Will that have an effect on the student enrollment? This year, because of the state budgeting slowdown with the legislature, we are just now getting out our financial aid awards. We have been able to meet the needs, the financial need of the student, but sometimes that's not enough. Students feel they deserve more aid than what their need shows. We're not positive yet as to how many students will decline the offer of admissions because they felt or feel they do not have enough aid coming to them. Now, the financial aid awards are just being sent out this week. So that's another factor. And so that's why we're kind of sitting back and waiting to see how many cancellations might occur. But if the cancellations do not occur, and if applications keep coming in at the same rate, then those students who will be submitting applications in July and August may have to wait until winter or spring to come to the university.
And of course, no one knows better than yourself the self-searching and the desire to find out the answer to falling or declining enrollment. Is the same effort made when we have an increase or a surge in enrollment as to the reason?
Yes, and it's as tough to explain as to why you have an increase as it is tough to explain why you have a decrease. But in anticipation of, number one, we know that the general public has questioned the credibility of higher education. And that overflows as to how students think about individual institutions. And so as an admission staff and as a university, we have taken the approach of taking the services, the program, the offerings of the university out to more people. And I would say more aggressively. And I think we're seeing some of the results of this. We feel that the university offers an excellent academic opportunity for a number of students. You see, all the way from the two-year program on through the doctoral degree program, that we can service the needs of almost every person. And you take specialized services such as AOP, the honors program. So we can meet the needs of a lot of people, and we've let them know that. You take that plus the university, you know, the number two reason why students come to the university is because of its environment. The campus visit is the number two reason why students indicate they have selected Ball State. Number one reason is the academic program. So there's been an effort. As you know, this past year we opened up the campus visit house.
Yes.
And that's been an excellent addition to hosting people who want to come to find out what Ball State is like.
Right, and the campus sells them because at the graduation ceremonies, I was walking behind this couple. The girl was graduating and her boyfriend was from another school. They weren't aware of me and they were talking, and the boyfriend said, "What a beautiful campus. If I'd known it was this nice, I'd have come here instead of my school."
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this increase, the large percentage that we have so far, is this reflected at other state universities?
That is a tough one. We have talked with Indiana University, and they have not experienced the kind of increase that we have in the new student enrollment. And we have not found other institutions of our type that have experienced this type of increase. So really, we feel that we're fortunate as a university to have the kind of reception that we've had.
And of course, you can attribute, you didn't mention this, but it is true, your personal approach to the student in contacting on a one-to-one basis. You've done this.
Yes, in addition to the publications, and we do receive a number of compliments on the publications that we use to inform students and parents. And that's the other thing that's taking place as compared to a few years ago, is a parent interest. To digress a little bit, we have had a larger percentage of parents involved in our summer orientation program than any other time. We've had days in which the numbers of parents outnumber the number of students involved in orientation.
And of course, Ball State was a pioneer in orientation.
That is correct. Well, we have designed our publication, hopefully, to really answer the kinds of questions that parents and students have. And they've responded well to that. Well, all students receive the publication introducing Ball State, which answers all the basic questions they have. They all receive information on their career interest. 2 different mailings on a career field to them. Then, in addition to that, we had Ball State students in telephone contact with the admitted students, and that means our students talked with approximately 3,000 admitted students between the months of January and May 15th. And the students and parents really appreciated that, because when the students asked a question, the prospective students, our own students, laid it down the line, gave them the information, told them the advantages and disadvantages, and spoke very frankly about their educational experiences here at the university. And we have, again, received many compliments from parents and students as to this service.
And would you rate the reasons that students enroll at Ball State University as number one, the academic programs to our campus?
And then the third reason is the low cost and the availability of financial aid. As we look at students out of state, this university is still a low-cost institution, but as we compare Ball State with other state universities in other states, we are a rather high-cost state institution.
For out-of-state students.
Yes, and for in-state, well, for example, you can go to, a Kentucky resident can go to a Kentucky school, hundreds of dollars cheaper than an Indiana resident can go to an Indiana state school. And the same in Illinois. A student in Illinois can go to the University of Illinois approximately $300 at less cost than what an Indiana student can go to Ball State.
And that brings us to our next question concerning the fee hike. And I've heard expression from students that, oh, it's not as much as I thought it would be. And they seem relieved that even though it was necessary to hike the student fees, that they didn't feel it was as much as it could have been.
You see, an admissions office is concerned with student access to higher education. There are a number of things that prevent access. Number one is ability, academic ability. Another one is geographic location. But one of the things that deters access is economics. That higher education already today has outpriced itself to a number of people. And, you know, the what breaks the camel's back kind of approach. How much longer will people continue to see higher education as a value in relationship to the amount of cost?
So you're very conscious of this.
They're very conscious.
And this means whether or not you get students.
Yes.
Right. So we must be attracting them, and it must be all the combination. The combination is correct. We thank you very much, Dr. Rowray, for sharing the enrollment figures and the prospect for this year with us. Dr. Richard Rowray, Director of Admissions at Ball State University, this week at Ball State.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been watching Showcase. Be sure to tune in next time for a better look at our community on Showcase.
Tightened. They have been expressing a greater willingness to leave the state of Indiana and go to the place where the jobs are located.
What are the strengths and weaknesses in Indiana?
I think the strengths, of course, are the fact that we have a lot of divisions of major corporations here. For example, you take Anderson, Indiana, and Muncie, Marion, where there's a lot of automotive industry here. In spite of the fact that the automotive industry has taken it on the chin in the past year, 3 years, they're still out seeking new college graduates for positions like production, in their financial orientation of their operation. I think that's probably a strength. I think the weakness is that we have relatively few corporate headquarters in the state of Indiana, which would offer a breadth of job opportunities. In education, certainly we've got some very, very fine school systems, and I think the state of Indiana appears to be a growing state, where we seem, from what I've been able to read, we are in fact growing population-wise, and that ought to assist our students who are interested in teaching here in the state of Indiana.
Do you lay it on the line with the students and you tell them ipso facto, this is the way it is and this is what you will have to do if you want to enter the job market?
Yes, I think so. We have a counseling staff of 5 in our office, and all of whom have had previous work experience out in the world. And I think that they're very factual with the students, and I think that they begin doing this at the very early years with the students, because we are dealing with more and more freshmen who are interested in what the devil is going to happen to them when they do graduate.
They think that far in advance.
Yes, we've been emphasizing this, and I think the whole university has been emphasizing this type of thing. So we're getting more and more freshmen and sophomores coming over to our office. So I think they're beginning to think about that.
Okay.
And we do lay it on the line.
We have graduation coming up in just a few weeks. So,
Yes.
and you say that for those Ball State students who will be walking off with their diplomas, the picture looks how?
I think it looks positive. I think that we're going to be able to help them considerably.
Good. Thank you very much. Glen Rosenthal, Director of Placement at Ball State University, the man who is the key to finding employment for so many Ball State graduates.